One love, family. Blessings and thanks. Wholeness to you. Hope you're having a beautiful, beautiful day. Jesse Tree here, sending big love. Walking in the desert with my puppy dogs. Doing some grounding. Got snow on the peaks over there. Part of my self-care regimen. Take myself for a walk every day, or just get some exercise every day. Probably do some crawling out here. Crawling is a super excellent exercise if you've never tried it. It's full body. It'll work your core and your shoulders and your hips and your legs. And it's try 5 minutes. You'll be worn out. You'll have a lot of respect for these guys. So, and you ground on the way. Wanted to share a little bit of my story and my experience, my journey here. Everybody's seeking, I think, steady ground at this time, and for me it has been grounding and helpful as heck to have a lot of these methods. So just a backstory a little bit. Had my usual growing up. Grew up in the suburbs in northern New Mexico in a little town, Los Alamos. Los Alamos has a very interesting and unique past and present. And just suffice to say, it's the place where the atom bomb was born. It's a national laboratory there, and all the parents are scientists and PhDs and work at the laboratory. That was my folks. But I always loved playing around in the canyons. There were many native ruins. We would come across pot shards, and from the time I was very small, from the time I was 5, I was pretending to be an indigenous person. And I think part of that is just in my soul. But grew up in the standard American way. My mom was a single working mom. Ate a lot of TV dinners and Spam and whatever we could get. And my dad was good and paying alimony. He was upright, made good money, but she was taking care of my sister and myself. Had one custody. So, suffice to say, single working moms, props to all of them. It's not an easy job. Single parents, single working parents out there. It's tough work. It's part of the reason why I think families are broken so much, is not enough loving attention, affection, and guidance, and connection, to our ancestors, to our parents, our grandparents, etc. Anyway, grew up eating all that stuff, loved McDonald's, loved to skateboard and play. In high school, got into partying and everything, but simultaneously I started getting into herbs, cannabis, psilocybin. Started to open up my mind, my spirit, to an actual spiritual experience, not just some religious, idea or leader or, group, but a palpable, strong spiritual experience. And that opened me up into herbalism and this understanding that our way has been bad for the earth, and that we need, and it's bad for us too, and that people are sick because we are the bioaccumulators at the top of the food chain. So we take the karmic brunt of it more than any other organism, actually, because all the stuff that's uptaked by the other organisms, we bioaccumulate. So it all leads up to my breatharian experience, and how I went through a period of illness. I started eating organic. My wife was getting me, how the women do. They're the healers, getting me to be more conscientious and being more accountable to myself, because these were my wishes anyways. Because after college I started to have like a depression, a terrible depression, and I wasn't hydrating. I was eating the slop that they fed in the cafeteria and Taco Bell and drinking beer and all the rest. So I had like a crash and burn, and in that time I explored my in college I was exploring native wisdom traditions and classes. And really studying Buddhism pretty seriously, even studying Sanskrit and stuff. And I had that depression, and my life forced me to take a stall and to just pay attention to my own inner needs, to get a full night's rest, some good sleep, eat some good nourishing food, take things like walks. And here, we're going to turn around, Chatty. Look, there's our little Karen. Oh, this is my positive thought, Karen. My son started building this every time we come. So I'm going to think wholeness and balance for the whole world. May all beings find peace. That's like the rock I'm going to put in there. Anyway, so don't want to get too lengthy with it all, but acupuncture, meditation, starting to get into that really helped me. And then I just fell away. And my wife started getting me back. We were eating all organic, but standard American, hamburgers and hot dogs, breakfast burritos, and pizza and etc. And still drinking beer, eating lots of candy. I started to have really bad gut issues, and have real bad experience with sugar, coffee, meat, gluten. I eat these things and I'd be wrecked for hours, and it was debilitating. I'd be at work with my buddies after I'd started my permaculture company. I had my buddies I was working with. Shout out to Tonio and Josh, One Love brothers. And we had a good old time. We were still young, and I'd be like wrecked, and I'd have to just kind of like flop over, and they'd have to pick up my slack, and whatever the case, I had to make changes. And my friend Andrea, One Love Andrea and Chris up in NorCal, love you. And my dear wife Hannah started to gain interest in raw food, and there's this couple, this Russian couple, who had all these debilitating diseases, and they cured them with raw food and wild foods. And they took these big long hikes, they did like the Pacific Rim Trail, and ate wild food, raw food the whole way, and just brought in a few little things, oil and salt and avocados and stuff. And that was like, bing, that's what I want to do. I was hooked right off the bat. The first time I read that book, I was like, that's when the Batenko family, Sergio Batenko, still teaches foraging classes and information. One Love Sergio, and the Batenkos. And that set up the lifestyle, and I started getting into Dan the Man, the Life Regenerator, his beautiful information, Dr. Robert Morse, his whole understanding that your lymph system processes everything you put in your body, and your 2/3 of your waters are your interstitial fluids are lymph, and when you get all plugged up, that starts to plug up your digestion and your respiration, so this is how disease starts, and it all just started to come naturally. I started getting into sun gazing and meditating again, and I found that to be very therapeutic, because I was feeling mental duress, young father, not in wellness, trying to show up for my family, not having the energy, feeling sick in my stomach, So I had to do this. I had to go the way of like getting into fasting and getting into, all this stuff. It was like I was prodded along the whole way by my inner need for balance, and started studying Ayurveda, started studying plants and wildcrafting and incorporating, because we were already permaculturists. We were, had fair knowledge of botany, knew all the plants, just were learning what was good for what, and who they were, who the plants were, and what their benefits and their, our relationship with them was. And it's this beautiful growing experience. I'm like sun gazing, meditating, my young family. I'm feeling strong again. I'm like learning the plants, barefoot connecting, and want to give one love also to Daniel Vitalis. He was one of the people who set me on this path of earth, wind, fire, water, grounding, good foods of the earth, getting in the sunshine, getting vitamin D in the sunlight on your eyes, making your body the best waters, doing breath work or exercise, or oxygenation. That's the angels. That's also what Dan talks about, the Essene Gospel of Peace, where Jesus basically teaches everyone how to heal with raw foods, water, enemas, and drinking, and bathing, grounding, and good food of the earth, etc. So this became a spiritual path, because when it connects with your well-being, what else can it be? When you're able to perform in your life better and bring more of yourself and be happy and healthy, of course everyone wants that. And it's a spiritual experience. And it's been lovely and beautiful and wonderful. So yeah, and then as time went on, I got into fasting more. I was doing smoothies all the time, using all these herbs, getting into tonic herbs and adaptogens, and really exploring herbalism. Went to the evolutionary school of herbalism and did that whole course, and also studied on my own. Just basically self-taught for about 10 years, and then so incorporating these herbs, because that's an important thing. Our foods are not enough, people. You need superfoods, you need herbs. It's just things that certain plants can do that other plants cannot. A potency, organ affinity, unique polyphenols, and various phytochemistry. Yeah, it's key, for purging the liver, purging, parasites, for cleansing the lymph, for, you need the various things. And as time went on, my body started to get cleaner and cleaner. I started to get less and less hungry. Wouldn't have breakfast after a while. And then pretty soon I wouldn't have lunch. We'd be working with the crew. Be like 2 o'clock. They'd be like, we can break. I'd be like, oh yeah, sorry, and have my smoothie. And then pretty soon lunch fell away. I'd just have dinner, and I was exploring breatharianism the whole time. It caught my interest way early on when I saw Ray Mayor back in like 2012 2011 maybe. Studying and following the work of Elitam Alamin. He came out and met me and taught here, and so now I've started getting in. Then I started getting into dry fasting and deeper dry fasting and deeper dry fasting. Now I'm at the point where I've been like 95% liquidarian for 4 years, and I dry fast 20 hours a day, and I can feel my body attenuating more to prana. I'm in a really stressful experience right now with my family, because my son is going through a massive healing. He has uranium toxicity, he has a neurological disorder, he has all kinds of things that have been pinged and need healing, and it's going to be a bit of a marathon for me. And I want to continue to be here for my community. I'm a little bit at odds with, my relationship with the technocracy. I want to continue my relationship with my extended digital community, but I feel at odds with social media platforms like Facebook and YouTube and Instagram in terms of the edifices they are in our country and our world and what they perpetuate and create. So, gotta wait here. Alright. But, anyway, so I'm trying to reconcile all this right now. Just wanted to share a little bit of my story to relay how this path has started to take shape for me. It's to benefit to any one of y'all out there. And I'm gonna wrap up and go inside. And there's a whole thing I would like to share, probably about my son. Kind of want his permission first. It's his life, and it's a massive sort of reboot. And it's actually, I think, a hidden blessing potential for him to kind of have a new life start in a good way. But suffice to say, I'll leave it out of the conversation for today. Just want to say once again, thank you for sharing your time with me, and hope you got something out of this. And if I can help you on your path towards greater health and balance, wholeness through herbs and superfoods or lifestyle, please let me know. So much is available for completely free that we can do every day. And then there's other things like foods and stuff that we buy anyway, but learning also this relationship to the land and to wildcraft and to be a part of the ecology once again is a paramount for our survival in the future, in my opinion. So we're gardeners of this planet, and we have to take our responsibility. So anyway, love you, family. Be well.